screens right now. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp. The number is there on your screens. And on the show, we are joined by Lancelot Dikuna, CIO ValueX Wealth Connect on the fundamentals, and Aditya Arora, founder and multi-asset research analyst at Adlitech.in on the technicals. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's always a pleasure having you both on the show. Now let's start with the show with the first WhatsApp query written to us from Kolkata. Somik holds 21 shares of NTPC Green at 107.35, and he's asking whether he should hold or sell the counter. He hasn't mentioned the time horizon. So I'd like to take both the fundamental and technical view on it. So Mr. Lancelot, talking about the fundamental aspects. So how does NTPC Green's margin profile compare to its peers?
I think on a margin profile, compared to the peers, they're a little bit, the margins are a little lower as compared to the peers. But that's also because, it's probably one of the later entrants into the space. But if you look at, the size and the volume that they are actually targeting, I think NTPC Green has the largest probable footprint in terms of growth on the green energy space. And given that they are backed by, NTPC, which is basically a government-owned company, we expect that, a lot of capital will be deployed in this space, and their ability to grow is going to be significantly enhanced by additional capital. As far as the transmission is concerned, the conversion, a lot of this depends on the rates available, for green energy. So to that extent, there may be a little bit of, slowdown, or margins may get impacted, because as rates drop, you could see, you could see a little, some impact on their margins and bottom line as well.
Understood. Thanks for that view. And Aditya, coming to you on the technical front, so what are the key support and resistance levels on the chart?
Sure. So key support for NTPC Green is 90, 92 odd levels, and resistance for this counter is placed at 115 to 120.
Thanks for that view, Aditya. And now we have a caller joining us from Hyderabad. Hi, Dheeraj. Good evening.
Hi, ma'am. My query is regarding Swiggy.
Yeah.
I'm holding 1,850 shares of Swiggy.
Okay.
At 306 rupees.
Okay.
So the stock is quite beaten down, like the all-time high is 617 rupees.
Yes.
So could I hold it for the next 3 months, or should I exit from the counter and look out for a better one, is my query, ma'am.
Understood. And Dheeraj, I'd also like to know that why did you pick Swiggy in the very first place for short-term investment?
Actually, I have seen some brokerage reports where they're quoting Swiggy's target price is around 500. So I have picked up a significant quantity of Swiggy.
Okay. And when did you purchase these shares?
Actually, today, ma'am.
Okay, so today you bought it. Understood.
Yeah.
So, Aditya, I direct this query to you. Do you see Swiggy reaching 500 levels in the next 2 to 3 months? Because that is the reason why Dheeraj has, invested in this counter.
Sure. I think so far the trend over here is lower high, lower low pattern, which is basically a bearish pattern, not a pattern which suggests there is strength in the counter. Although we can turn bullish on the counter once stock breaks above its resistance zone of 350, then we can turn little bullish on this counter. Otherwise, I would say it's an avoid.
So that's an avoid on Swiggy. And if you are holding, so probably, Aditya, they should be booking their losses.
Like it could be their own individual decision, but technically the trend would turn positive above 350. Right now, one can wait for proper technical signals to turn bullish.
Understood. Thanks for that view. Now we have a WhatsApp query written to us from Chennai. Tom is holding 100 shares of Piramal Pharma at 262 a piece, and he's looking for a 6 months view on the counter. So currently it's trading at 211, and the stock is seen a bit of beating there from the levels that he's bought. So Aditya, what's your take on Piramal Pharma? How is it faring on the charts?
Piramal Pharma has been consolidating for a while now, has consolidated for a while now, and I think the range has been established as 180 on the lower side and 240 on the upside. So until unless this range doesn't break, it can consolidate in a broad band. So right now, the view is neutral. One can turn bullish about 250 odd levels.
Understood. And Mr. Lancelot, coming to you on Piramal Pharma's fundamental performance, do you see it as a highly, valuated stock?
So, if you look at the outlook for Piramal Pharma, there is a lot of uncertainty as to what is going to be the situation, opening up in, based on the US, because most of the pharma companies are dependent on a large proportion of the shares depend on the US, US markets. So if you look at them, they do have a lot of businesses which are in the contract development manufacturing space and in the critical space, which is a little bit linked to the hospital domestic business. But about one third of their business comes from the global business. And if you look at the valuations, they're trading at, at a very high valuation. So any kind of negative surprise can lead to a severe, re-rating of the stock, and that could, make it move sharply. So it could be a very volatile stock. So I think there are better pharma companies, and at this point in time, it's probably best to wait out and see how the global situation plays out, and then decide on investing, because you're not investing for a short term, you're investing for the long term.
Understood, understood. Thanks for that view, Mr. Lancelot. I'm sure our viewers who are watching us right now will benefit from this advice. And with that, viewers, just a quick reminder for you all. This is your chance to get all your stock-related queries answered. So please don't miss this chance. Just pick up your phones right away and call us. And with that, we have a WhatsApp query from Chennai. SEBI holds 200 shares of CMS Info Systems at 450 apiece. And SEBI is looking whether he should hold or sell the counter. So he hasn't mentioned the time horizon. So I'd like to take both the fundamental and technical view on it. So Mr. Lancelot, how is CMS Info Systems positioning itself against its competitors in the cash management and financial service space?
So, CMS Info Systems actually provides a lot of the cash management for the ATMs, branches, and also between, for the banks themselves or even the large NBFCs. So while it is a service that is extremely critical and important for the banks, at the same time, it is like a cost plus service. So the margins cannot exceed a certain proportion, and the growth depends on the physical usage of cash. As it is, if you look at it from a longer term perspective, which more and more digitization taking place, I think the usage of cash in transactions is bound to start reducing over a period of time, and that could result in a lower profitability for the company over a longer period of time. Yes, in the short run there would be growth parameters, and since, like I said, that it's basically a cost plus business. The overall margins are going to be low. The flip side is that they have a near monopoly in the business because there's very little competition from others. So there are basically 2 or 3 large players in the space. So, and at the moment the price is, the valuations are fairly high, and so everything positive is already being factored into the price. So one should probably stay away at this point in time.
Understood. Thanks for that view. So stay away from CMS Info for long term is what Mr. Lancelot is suggesting. And Aditya, on the technical front, so how does the current stock price actually, relate to its 50-day or 200-day moving averages?
I think the stock is trading above its important moving day averages. And so far, the trend has been little sideways since last 1 to 2 months. And overall, the structure of this stock is pretty positive. So once we see a breakout above 500, we can see a dash towards levels like 550 to 600. So the outlook remains neutral to positive as of now.
Understood. So neutral to positive for short term is what Aditya is suggesting. With that, we have a caller joining us from Hyderabad. Hi, Snigdha. Good evening.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah. Please
Hi,
go ahead with your query.
So, yeah, I have at 1425, I have 300 shares of Netweb Technologies.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, the results are declared tomorrow. So I just want to know if I can see upside if I hold it for 3 months or so, 3 to 6 months.
Understood. So you're a short-term investor.
Yes.
Okay. So a short-term outlook on Netweb Tech. Aditya, directing this question to you, what are the charts suggesting? Are you seeing any sort of uptick there in the near future?
I think recently there isn't much activity in this counter as the stock is stuck in a range, and although market went up quite a bit, this stock didn't participate too much in the rally. So I wouldn't say that the quality of stock is very good or the technical parameters right now are very encouraging. Technically, this will turn bullish only above 1700. Right now, I would say that it's sell on rise candidate until unless there's a proper breakout.
Understood. Thanks for that view. And also, Mr. Lancelot, I'd like to take a fundamental view on the counter as well. In the tech space, so how do you see Netweb's positioning, as compared to its peers?
Unfortunately, I don't really cover this company, so I can't really give you a view on it.
Okay, and if you could just, if you have any say in the technology space, and if you have any picks considering the current scenario in the market, and the tech space seeing a bit of a beating there, so what suggestion do you have on that front?
Yeah, I think Himakshi, the tech space has corrected, and many of the the frontline companies have corrected significantly from their highs. Like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, and HCL Tech. And very many of them saw, or gave an outlook for the next quarter that it's going to be challenging because they expect that, capital expenditure in the US, which is a major market for them, is seeing some amount of hesitation from customers in terms of implementing new projects. And that could impact their earnings or their revenue growth going forward. However, if one has to take let's say a year or 2 year outlook, I think the entire industry needs a huge investment, especially given that AI is going to play out as a major phenomenon in transforming the way businesses approach technology related solutions. And all these AI related solutions will need implementation from technology service providers, like Infosys, TCS, HCL Tech, etc., who are in the process of actually beefing up their skill set as well as their employee strength in this space. So I would say that if you look at valuations of many of these companies like TCS, Infosys, they are trading at forward multiple P of about 2022, which traditionally has been their lower range of valuation. So one should definitely look at nibbling into the space and adding into the space, because as and when the outlook changes, you will see these stocks getting re-rated significantly. And at the same time, the downside is limited because all the negatives have already been factored into the price, including the next quarter's weak performance. So you can only see positive surprises going forward. So downside seems limited, and yet you could have significant upside as the market improves.
Understood. So significant upside on the corner in the IT space is what Mr. Lancelot is suggesting. With that, we are joined by a caller from Pune. Hi, Deepak. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi. I have a question regarding Power Grid. I'm holding about 2,000 stocks.
Okay.
At 311.75.
375.
No, 311.75.
311. Understood. Okay.
And I see that the stock has been fluctuating a lot. Well, the beginning of the week looked good, but today it ended at a really bad note. So my question is, what are the prospects for this stock in terms of short term as well as long? And an added question with that would be, how good is the power sector looking for distribution as well as the companies who are generating power? Now, whether it be biogas, windmill or solar, whatever it is.
Understood. Your question has been duly noted, Deepak. And Mr. Lancelot, I'll direct this question to you. Talking about the fundamentals of Power Grid Corporation, our viewer is sitting on a loss, and there has been a lot of fluctuations there in the stock price as well. So, what suggestion do you have for Deepak there, and what's your outlook on the counter?
Power Grid actually is a near monopoly business because the entire power infrastructure, transmission infrastructure is managed or is being built by Power Grid as the main body. So, and if you look at it, they have been able to monetize their power assets by moving the existing assets into infrastructure investment trusts and thereby freeing up a lot of cash on the balance sheets, which makes them again have the necessary cash to reinvest this money back into further capex. And if you look at the government's contention or the government's thrust on the power sector, there's a huge thrust in terms of making India as to one grid and one country, one grid, because all the state governments want to have an interconnected grid so that power from any place which is surplus within the country can be easily moved to where power is required. So I think this goes a long way in terms of redistribution of power, making smart grids, and Power Grid has a great role to play in all this expansion. So from a growth perspective, I think business is going to grow. Margins may be very limited, in terms of they are a utilities company. In terms of utilities, obviously being a large public benefit as well, you cannot charge outsized prices and have outsized profits. But the volume growth will be sufficient to take care of higher profit growth going forward. So even if you look at the past, let's say 10 years of profit growth of Power Grid, you will see they have been steadily growing their profits. So I would think that, going forward also this trend is going to continue. You will see because of the thrust of government on power manufacturers, there is sufficient, traction going to be there as far as revenue growth is concerned, capacity addition is concerned, and this should all augur well for make Power Grid a long-term good investment opportunity.
So Power Grid, a long-term good opportunity for investment is what Mr. Dikuna is suggesting. And Aditya, quickly, if you could just give us a technical outlook on the counter.
Sure, I think Power Grid has been doing well and outperforming the market. So it's my thumbs up on this counter. And one can accumulate or stay put in this counter with stop loss of 270, and the upside one can expect is 330 to 360.
Thanks for that. And with that, viewers, we'll have to slip into a short break, but keep sending in your queries on WhatsApp and call in. We'll be right back for Ask Profit. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit.
Apollo Tyres, now there's a buzz of a positive corporate development related to related to its European operations of European business that could come in. Now this EU operations contribute nearly 30% to the consolidated top line of the company, and dealers are also indicating that there could be a potential positive broking note that could come in from a foreign broking firm. In the last 1 month, if you see, the share prices of Genzol Engineering has fallen more than 58%.
Why are the rating firms calling the debt payments as default?
We have two credible credit rating agencies on March 4th coming and downgrading the stock to D.
Statements are consistently being proven wrong, and transactions are being taken place which are different from what they were originally pictured to be.
The company claimed it would roll out 6,400 electric vehicles. But what it has rolled out is a shocking scam. Funds meant for the project were funneled allegedly back to the promoters, the Jaggi brothers. What did the money buy? Not EVs, of course, but a lavish flat in Gurgaon's luxurious DLF Carmelias.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and I'm your host Himakshi Bahugna. And on the show, we are joined by Mr. Lancelot D'Cunha on the fundamentals and Aditya Arora on the technicals. So, with that, let's go across to our first caller after the break. Joining us from Andhra Pradesh. Hi, Prithviraj. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi.
Yes. How can I help you on the show today?
My query is about Ramkrishna Forgings.
Okay.
I'm holding 150 shares of Ramkrishna Forgings at the price of 633.50.
Yeah.
I want to know the fundamentals of this company. I want to hold it for long term. I'm seeing this is falling daily, so I want to know the fundamentals to hold it long term.
Yeah, understood. So, so Mr. Lancelot, recently it came out, in one of the meetings that there is an ongoing preliminary assessment which is going on because a certain irregularity has been found in the recording inventory, and since that news has come in, the stock actually fell quite a lot. So, what do you have to say? Do you see it? Definitely, it's not a positive for the company, but do you see it affecting the fundamental performance of the company?
So, Ramkrishna Forgings is manufacturing, forged components for automobiles, railway wagons, coaches, and various engineering parts. In fact, they are the second largest forging player in India after Bharat Forge. But, when you come to issues relating to corporate governance, and if you see that a company is having issues relating to proper corporate governance, I think the investment hypothesis actually goes out of the window, because then you do not know whether to be able to trust the the numbers being disclosed, the annual reports, the balance sheets, and also when you see that companies are engaging in such kind of activities, I don't think one can should take a chance that there is something that is right or wrong, because at this point in time, you don't really know how much to believe the numbers, and maybe even if the investigation proves otherwise, the fact that there has been a discrepancy in reporting of the numbers and now there is an investigation on in it, I think one should probably exit, because however attractive a company appears to be, whenever there is a issue regarding corporate governance, it doesn't end well over the long term.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mr. Lancelot. And I'm sure our viewers who are watching us and those who are holding the stock will keep this in mind and make their moves accordingly. Aditya, if you could just tell us what are the charts suggesting, especially after hitting that low?
Sure. So I think the stock has been correcting consistently, and it has now broken its support of 600. But this is the demand zone, so he can keep a stop loss of 560. Until 560 is not broken, there's scope for a bounce back in this counter.
Right. Thanks for that view. With that, we have a caller joining us from Noida. Hi, Sanjay. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, how can I help you on the show today, Sanjay?
I like to ask query regarding Canara Bank.
Okay.
And I have 1750 shares of Canara Bank.
Right.
Of 97.
Okay.
I want fundamental outlook of Canara Bank.
Okay, so a fundamental.
Can I add another query?
Okay, understood. So, Mr. Lancelot, in the banking space in particular, so what's your outlook on Canara Bank per se? Because currently it's trading at similar levels, at which Sanjay has bought these shares. So, are you optimistic on the counter? Should he stay invested in it?
So, what has happened is many of the public sector banks, there was a rally, maybe a year back that took all these, banks that were trading below certain price to book levels and said, oh, there's a great attractive opportunity. And yes, they did actually perform in line with their opportunity. But now when you see the situation, a lot of, banks, including Canara Bank, are showing that net interest margins have reduced, NPAs have gone up. There is issues relating to small financing, microfinance book, and given this background, also the fact that the new age banks are more quicker and better positioned to generate higher CASA deposits. I think the valuations are slowly getting to reflect the true values or the intrinsic value of the bank. So at the moment, I think the bank is fairly valued, and there's the upside is limited. Although going forward, the environment as far as interest rate and bond yields are concerned are actually positive for banking and financial. So you will see an improved performance. But the current price levels actually already factor a large proportion of these upside into the price at the moment. So you may not get a significant upside in a short period of time unless the financial performance improves dramatically.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that view. And Aditya, talking about the technical aspect, so how is it faring on the charts?
I think PSU banking space is doing pretty well, and we have seen good bounce back in most of the PSU counters. And we have also seen a breakout on Nifty PSU banking space. So I maintain buy or dips strategy on this, although there's volatility in the market due to geopolitical tension, etc. But this counter has shown enough strength, and that is accompanied by good volume. So I would suggest one can remain bullish on this counter, and we can expect higher levels on this stock. Levels like 110 and 120, and one can keep stop loss at 85.
Thanks for that. So both our fundamental and technical guests are positive on Canara Bank. With that, we are joined by a caller from Hyderabad. Hi Ravi, good evening.
Yeah, hi, very good evening.
Yes, how can I help you on the show today?
Yeah, my query is regarding Bajaj Finance.
Okay.
So why I want to buy is recently Bajaj Finance has declared bonus and stock split. So shall I proceed with the buy of this stock?
Okay.
I mean, is it a good buy?
Okay.
So if I buy one stock, how many I will get in return for stock split and as well as bonus?
Understood, understood. So, Mr. Lancelot, talking about the stock split situation there, if you could just explain our, viewers and get them a bit of understanding as to how the company is planning to split its stocks and are these the correct levels to enter the counter if they want to enter?
So Himakshi, I think there's a common, maybe misconception that whenever a stock split happens or a bonus issue is given, the price or the number of shares doubles and hence it becomes cheaper or it's better to buy it because you got a free share or you get extra shares. But in reality, the valuation doesn't change because it's just that the number of outstanding shares gets increased, and the value gets broken down proportionately into the value at per share based on the post bonus and post split price. So if you look at Bajaj Finance, and it was trading at 9,000 rupees prior to the announcement of the bonus, or maybe it's around that range at this point in time, and you consider that you're going to get 4 shares as a bonus shares, and it's going to get split down to down from 2 rupees face value to 1 rupee. So effectively, your cost is going to drop to 10% of the current market price. So your value, if you buy it at today's price, it will work out to 900 rupees per share on a post bonus, post split basis. Now, if you take the book value, that is not going to change. The price earnings is not going to change. The return on equity is not going to change. So it's even today, it's trading at about 7 times book value. So at a price to book value, if 7 times is fairly expensive for a NBFC company. And so one has to be a little careful that you're buying into something, merely on the basis that its numbers have increased and the price from 10,000 becomes 9,000 becomes 900. So it looks cheaper, and maybe it should move up if there is a, volume buying happens at 900, and yes, more people are willing to pay a higher price. But in reality, the valuation of 7 times is expensive. So if one is looking at it from a fundamental perspective, one should, it shouldn't matter whether you're willing to buy it at 9,000. If you're finding it cheap at 9,000, then you should go ahead and do it, not because of the split and the bonus.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that wise advice there, Mr. Lansdowne. I'm sure not just Ravi, but many other viewers who might be thinking to invest in this counter will get a clarity of thought as to what they should be doing with the company and the counter if they want to invest in. And rightly said that it is 7 times of its book value. So viewers, you can look into the advice given to us by Mr. Lansdowne there. And Aditya, talking about, the technical aspect of it, currently today the stock was up in trade, over 2%. So what's your sense for the short term?
I think short term the charts are pretty good, and Bajaj Twins actually started the rally in the market. These two stocks were the first stock to start the rally, and I think that strength may continue. So currently the stock is trading at 8,860. If 8,500 is protected, there could be some bounce back in the stock towards levels like 9,000 to 9,500. So in the medium term to short term to medium term, I think the outlook over here is medium to bullish.
Sure. Thanks for that view, Aditya. With that, we have a caller joining us from Andhra Pradesh. Hi, Raj. Good evening.
Hi.
Yeah, how can I help you?
My query is about Tilaknagar Industries. I want to enter into the stock. So when I can enter, is it good company to enter in this alcohol system?
Okay. So are you a long-term investor, Raj, or a short-term?
Yeah, long-term only.
Long-term investor. Understood. So, Mr. Lansdowne, do you have any view on Tilaknagar Industries? Currently, it's trading at 293 and was also up in trade today over 2%.
Yeah, so, when you look at this industry, Tilaknagar is one of the companies that is engaged in, the sale of alcohol and alcoholic beverages. And if you consider the benefits of, this company, alcohol is a controlled, distribution mechanism. And in most of the states, it becomes very difficult to generate high returns. Also, the distribution part is, if you have various brands, you're able to combine the offers on different brands and generate higher sales. So it's always the larger companies that will benefit, as opposed to the smaller companies. So company like United Spirits, would be a much better bet, as opposed to, let's say, investing in the long term for a company with like Tilaknagar, because it has a much lower footprint as far as product range is concerned, as far as distribution is concerned, compared to the larger players. So it's better to stay with the larger players.
Thanks for that view, Mr. Lansdowne. With that, we are joined by a caller from Mumbai. Hi, Manish. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me on the show.
It's our pleasure, Manish. Please go ahead with your query.
Yes, I have recently bought 8 shares of IndusInd Bank.
Okay.
Well, looks like it's a banking flavor going on, because you got Can Bank, you got Bajaj Finance, and then this one.
Yeah.
So,
and
right.
I'm glad that you're watching the show very closely there.
I am observing all the comments and properly glued to this show right now. So I thought, let me take my chance and see if at all I get through that. But yeah, lucky enough to get through the call.
Yeah, please. Yes. So
right.
you're talking about IndusInd Bank. Yeah.
IndusInd Bank, I bought recently 8 shares at 655. Yes. So I'm on some profit right now, but I wanted to get a long-term view of this. I mean, I'm in for a very long term, so I'm okay to hold it.
Okay, and I'm sorry, you bought it at what levels?
655.
655. Okay,
Yeah.
understood. So yeah, currently you are sitting on a good profit there because it's trading at 853. So Mr. Lancelot, since Manish is a very long-term investor, and even after its CEO Sumant Katpalia, stepped down, but the company, the street is reacting positively, and talking about the fundamentals of the bank, they are anyway positive. So what suggestion do you have there for our viewers who are holding these shares of IndusInd Bank?
So I think, if you look at the valuations of the bank, and also let's first address, like some of the issues that were brought up leading to the resignation of the CEO and the deputy CEO. So what has happened is, while there have been some concerns about, misstatement in terms of the actual calculations of the futures and the mark to market, the loss is now factored into the price. It's already booked, and there have been two separate audits that have taken place. One is an internal investigation, and thereafter confirmed by an external investigation. So there are no more negatives coming in from that space. As far as the the microfinance book and the NPAs and issues relating to the second issues, I think those have also been corrected. The bank is a large bank. It's trading at a one-time book value, which is a very attractive valuation for a large bank like IndusInd Bank. And probably once a new management team is put in place, you will start to see that the inherent strength of this bank will enable it to grow. And once growth comes back, it could easily trade at about 2 times book value. So if you're a long-term investor, one needs to wait out this volatility and hold on to the stock, and maybe even add if there is a decline in the price, because the fundamental value at which you're buying into the stock is very reasonable at this valuation. And so downside appears to be significantly lower, the downside risk, unless some new facts come up and there's a new valuation issues.
Understood. So downside looks, it's already trading at lower levels, and so Mr. Lancelot is positive on the counter there. And Aditya, for a new investor who actually wants to invest in this counter, so are these the correct levels that, even Mr. Lancelot was saying that these are pretty much decent levels there for anyone to kind of enter or accumulate more at these levels?
I agree with him. Currently, the stock is almost trading at multi-month and multi-week support. So, not a bad price to accumulate this counter. And in history, also, this stock has shown good support around 600 odd levels. So, I think not a bad idea to stay invested in IndusInd Bank at current market price.
Understood. Thanks for that view. With that, we have a caller joining us from Mysuru. Hi, Devraj. Good evening.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, how can I help you on the show today, Devraj?
Ma'am, KPIT Technology, 300 quantity. Average price 1,300. Profit loss, ma'am. Seller hold, ma'am.
Okay, and when did you buy KPIT Tech shares, Devraj?
Ma'am, 1,300.
Okay, Devraj is sitting on a loss of over nearly 20,000 is what I could see, and he's looking for a short-term view on it. He bought it at 1,300, Aditya. Currently, it's trading at 1,233. Do you see any sort of recovery there so that, he can at least book his losses or, he doesn't make this much of loss in the short term?
Absolutely. The stock has corrected quite a bit from 1850 odd levels, 1900 levels to 1000. So the worst is behind us, and the stock has corrected as much as it had to. Now it's resting or taking support at its multi-month support of 1150. So I think, as I said, worst seems to be behind us, and there's scope for good recovery in this counter. So at this price, I maintain bullish outlook on this stock with stop loss of 1,000 rupees.
with a stop loss of 1,000. Aditya is bullish on KPIT Tech. With that, we are joined by a caller from Chennai. Hi, Avdesh. Good evening.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, how can I help you on the show today?
I'm the regular viewer of your show. Daily 1 hour I see this show.
Thank you so much. Thank you
and
so much,
I have
Avdesh.
called several times for one of my query.
Yeah.
One stock really I want from the chemical sector.
Okay.
And I have called several times on your show, and I have got suggestion about Tata Chemical, Himadri Specialty, and Vinati Organics, and some other sources I came to know about Tattva Chintan, Balaji Mines. But ma'am, till date, I have not decided which will be very good for the long-term investment.
Okay.
Some has been rejected due to some stock is not investing in pharma sector, not catering to pharma sector or EV, or some is very high valuation. So I have not decided till date. Okay, ma'am. So I want to ask from Lancelot sir, which stock will be very good for the long-term investment in chemical sector?
Understood. And what is your corpus that you want to actually invest?
Around, ma'am, this time I can invest around 2 lakhs. Okay. And I want to invest for very, very long term.
Okay, Avdesh, I'll make sure that this time, you get a suggestion that you're able to actually, implement it and you make a sound choice after that. Mr. Lancelot, he has been calling us frequently and, our experts have been suggesting him, but still he hasn't been able to make his mind as to which chemical stock, he should be investing in. So do you have any suggestions there? Tata Chemicals, Himadri Specialty, because he has a corpus of 2 lakh rupees there. So, he's calling us with great hopes. So what's your suggestion to him?
At this point in time, one should look at a company that is, fairly well diversified across various geographies, as well as, its business gives it a large moat or a kind of a monopoly status to be able to weather even, changes in the cycle, the business cycle. And one such company, which is trading at probably its all-time high is SRF Limited. And it has a very strong business of refrigeration gases and industrial chemicals, specialty chemicals. And in the fluorochemical space where there is a strong requirement or demand from the US, it's one of the few chemical companies that has been allowed to send its products into the US because there's an acute shortage of these chemicals there. And hence, there is very less impact that we could see tariffs having on this particular company's products, because even if there's a 10% tariff, the company will be able to increase its production. It also has a couple of other businesses, which are, the packaging film business and, an export business. So these also are growing, and you can see that the contribution from revenue as well as profits from the other businesses also will hedge, any volatility on the chemicals business. Recently, the company has completed expansion of its plants in India. They've gone on stream. And so we will expect to see that these capacities, additions that will help will begin to start contributing both to the revenues as well as to the bottom line in this company. So during the short term, there may be some impact of volatility if there are any changes in the tariffs or in the pricing as far as the company's business is concerned. But if you are a long-term investor looking at a 4 to 5 year time horizon, and you're willing to buy now, and even if the stock price corrects, then one should add in at a lower level, because fundamentally the company is very sound. Yes, current valuation is a little high. So maybe the other option is to wait for a correction in the market and then buy into the price. But this is definitely a company which one can look at adding for the long term.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lancelot, for suggesting SRF Limited as a stock in the chemical space for Avdesh. I'm sure his query has been answered very well there. And with that, we have a caller joining us from Noida. Hi, Amol. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, how can I help you, Amol?
Yeah, actually I bought 100 shares of LIC Housing Finance.
Okay.
At the rate of 590.
Yeah.
And I just want to know the short-term view because I bought this with a near-term target of around 650 to 660 rupees.
Understood.
So I just want to know short-term view from Mr. Aditya, like how, whether it is achievable or where should I put the stop loss in that case.
Understood, understood. So Aditya, quickly, if you could just answer that, what's the stop loss that you suggest for LIC Housing Finance, and do you see any sort of, uptick there or recovery in the stock that it reaches levels near to 650, 660?
I think yes, if one has little longer duration, I see 650 levels being achieved on this counter because the smart recovery which we have seen from 480 odd levels to 620. I think the buzz is there in banking NBFC space, and that is likely to continue. So I maintain bullish outlook on this counter. One can keep stop loss if one has medium term view, then one can keep stop loss at 500, and the levels to watch out on the upside are 680 to 720.
So thanks for that view, Aditya, and I'm afraid that we are running short of time. But thank you so much, Mr. Lancelot and Aditya, for always being so patient and answering all of viewers' queries so nicely. So thank you so much once again. And viewers, with that, it's a wrap on Ask Profit. But stay tuned to NDTV Profit as there's more lined up ahead on the other side.
Apollo ties. Now there's a buzz of a positive corporate development related to related to its European operations or European business that could come in. Now this EU operations contribute nearly 30% to the consolidated top line of the company, and there's dealers are also indicating that there could be a potential positive broking note that could come in from a foreign broking firm.